Most people are aging faster than they should. Not because of genetics, not because of bad luck, not because their body was destined to fail, but because every day they are sending their cells the wrong signal. Your body has powerful systems designed to repair DNA, clean the brain, reduce inflammation, protect muscle, and slow biological aging. But modern life has quietly shut many of those systems down. Too much food, too little movement, poor sleep, constant stress, no recovery. And the scary part is this: you may not notice the damage until decades have already been taken from you. Welcome to Vital Unknowns. Today, we're uncovering the longevity truth most people wish they knew 20 years earlier. The uncomfortable truth about aging. Here is what almost nobody tells you. Aging is not primarily a time problem. It is an information problem. Your DNA contains somewhere between 20,000 and 25,000 genes. Those genes don't change much across your lifetime. What changes is whether they are switched on or off. Aging, at its biological core, is the progressive loss of your body's ability to read its own genetic instructions correctly. Cells that used to know exactly what to do start receiving scrambled signals. They become confused, dysfunctional, and eventually dangerous. Scientists call this epigenetic noise. And here is the critical part. It is not inevitable. It is not simply getting old. It is a process that can be dramatically slowed, and in some tissues partially reversed, depending entirely on how you live. Dr. David Sinclair, a professor of genetics at Harvard Medical School and one of the most cited longevity researchers alive, has spent over 25 years studying this exact mechanism. His research, along with a growing body of peer-reviewed science, points to one central conclusion: the speed at which you accumulate epigenetic noise is almost entirely within your control. You are not a passive passenger in your own aging. You are the driver. The 4 pathways that control how long you live. Your body has specific molecular pathways whose entire job is to detect stress, repair damage, and extend your survival. Think of them as your longevity circuitry. When they are activated correctly, your body shifts into what researchers call a survival mode, a state in which cellular repair ramps up, inflammation drops, damaged cells get cleared out, and your biological age actually slows relative to your chronological age. These 4 pathways are AMPK, mTOR, sirtuins, and autophagy. You do not need to memorize those names. What you need to understand is what turns them on. Stress does. Not emotional stress. Biological stress. Short, controlled, purposeful hormetic stress. The kind that signals to your cells that resources are limited, that efficiency is required, that survival matters. This is the mechanism your ancestors triggered every single day simply by living their lives. They moved constantly. They didn't eat around the clock. They experienced temperature variation. They were exposed to fasting states regularly. Modern life has systematically eliminated every single one of those triggers, and we are paying for it in years. The single most powerful longevity lever most people ignore. If you had to choose one intervention, one change backed by the most consistent multi-decade evidence for extending healthy lifespan, it would not be a drug. It would not be a supplement. It would be caloric restriction and its close cousin, time-restricted eating. Since the 1930s, researchers have known that reducing calorie intake in animals dramatically extends lifespan, in some species by 30 to 40%. For decades, scientists assumed this was simply about weight. They were wrong. The mechanism runs far deeper. When your body senses a reduction in available nutrients, it activates AMPK, which simultaneously suppresses mTOR, the growth pathway, and supercharges sirtuin proteins. Sirtuins are ancient genes, conserved across virtually every living organism on Earth. In humans, there are 7 of them. Their job, in times of scarcity, is to silence damaged DNA, repair broken chromosomes, stabilize cellular identity, and extend the functional life of every organ in your body. A 2022 study published in Science followed caloric restriction in humans for 2 years. Participants who reduced calorie intake by just 14% showed significant changes in biological aging markers. Their cells, by measurable standards, were aging more slowly. Not theoretically, measurably. You don't need to starve. You need a daily eating window of roughly 8 to 10 hours, consistent sleep before midnight, and the willingness to occasionally feel slightly hungry. That's it. That is the entry point to one of the most powerful biological systems ever discovered. If this is resonating, share it. Someone in your life needs to hear this before it's too late. The sleep truth that changes everything. Every night, your brain does something extraordinary. It shrinks. Not permanently, but the spaces between your brain cells widen by roughly 60%, and cerebrospinal fluid flows through those channels in pulsing waves, physically washing out the metabolic waste your neurons produced during the day. Among the most toxic of those waste products is amyloid beta, the protein fragment that accumulates into the plaques characteristic of Alzheimer's disease. This cleaning system is called the glymphatic system, and it was only discovered in 2013 by neuroscientist Dr. Maiken Nedergaard at the University of Rochester. It operates almost exclusively during deep, slow-wave sleep. It is not optional. It is not something your body finds another time to do. If you are chronically sleeping 6 hours or less, you are waking up every morning with a slightly dirtier brain than the day before. Matthew Walker, professor of neuroscience at UC Berkeley and author of one of the most important books written in the last decade on human health, has reviewed data connecting chronic short sleep to significantly elevated risk of Alzheimer's, cardiovascular disease, metabolic dysfunction, cancer, and shortened overall lifespan. The data is not subtle. Sleeping fewer than 6 hours per night is associated with a 13% higher mortality risk compared to those sleeping 7 to 8 hours. Sleep is not rest. Sleep is maintenance. The difference between a body that lasts and a body that breaks down is often measured in what happens between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. Movement is medicine, but not the kind you think. The fitness industry has trained people to think exercise is mainly about burning calories. In reality, that is the smallest part of its value. Exercise is one of the strongest non-drug interventions for long-term health. Its real power lies in what it does to your mitochondria, brain, immune system, metabolism, and biological aging. When you walk briskly, cycle, swim, or do any sustained aerobic activity for 20 to 45 minutes, your body activates a protein called PGC1-alpha. This signals your cells to create more mitochondria. More mitochondria means better energy production, less oxidative stress, and slower accumulation of cellular damage over time. Research shows that about 150 minutes of moderate aerobic activity per week can significantly reduce the risk of early death. That is only around 21 minutes per day. But movement is not only cardio. Resistance training is equally important. After the age of 35, adults begin losing muscle mass unless they actively preserve it. Muscle is not just for appearance. It helps regulate blood sugar, protects joints, supports balance, reduces the risk of falls, and releases myokines that lower inflammation and support brain health. The people who remain independent, sharp, and physically capable in old age are usually not the ones who followed perfect diets or took expensive supplements. They are the ones who kept moving consistently for years. Chronic inflammation is another silent driver of aging. Heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, and many cancers are linked with long-term low-grade inflammation, often called inflammaging. It builds quietly through poor sleep, ultra-processed foods, stress, smoking, alcohol, and a sedentary lifestyle. The solution is not complicated. Eat real food, sleep well, move daily, reduce processed inputs, and manage stress. Social connection is also part of longevity. Long-term studies show that strong relationships predict longer life, better brain health, and greater happiness. Loneliness, on the other hand, increases stress hormones, inflammation, and immune dysfunction. Longevity is not a secret formula. It is a daily practice. Sleep 7 to 8 hours. Move 21 minutes a day. Build muscle. Eat better. Protect your relationships. Aging is not just something that happens to you. Your body responds to what you repeatedly do. Longevity is not a secret pill. It is not a luxury routine. It is not hidden inside a $300 supplement bottle. It is built through signals. Sleep tells your brain to clean itself. Movement tells your cells to stay powerful. Fasting tells your body to repair. Strength training tells your muscles not to disappear. Real food tells inflammation to calm down. Human connection tells your nervous system it is safe. Your body is listening every day. The The question is, what are you telling it? If this made you think differently about aging, like this video, subscribe to Vital Unknowns and stay with us, because the next video will uncover the ordinary habits behind people who live past 100. Because aging is not just time passing, it is your body responding to the life you repeat.